info about property market cycle? If yes, then here's are some more things that you need to know. If no, then here are the things that you need to know about property market cycle. So let's check out. So here's a general introduction about property market cycle. So if you say yes just now, then please keep to the next part about the deeper understanding of property market cycle. So almost everything in the world has their own cycle, mainly due to human nature and also debt or credit creation. Like us, for a human, we start off as a baby and grow into an adult and finally dies off when we get old. For most of the people, that's the complete cycle of our lifetime. So this applies to the property market as well. The property market cycle starts from the expansion, then the boom, and we have the recession after that, and we have the bottom, and we have the trough. Then continues to repeat until the great reset happens, and we continue again. So here's a graph for the property market cycle, and you can check out the video if you haven't checked it out. Now here's for the next level understanding about property market cycle. So same as other types of the financial assets, property is not going to perform well in all the economic situations. So in regard to this, we need to know that there's 4 different economic conditions generally in which all financial assets have their different performance in those specific conditions. So referring to Ray Dalio's sharing of his economic understanding that serves as the basis for his Bridgewater's all-weather portfolio, there's 2 important factors in the economy, which are inflation and growth. So for each of these 2 factors, we have both rising and falling conditions for both inflation and growth. So we have condition number 1, which is rising inflation and rising growth, and vice versa. And situation number 3 is rising inflation, falling growth, and vice versa. That's the 4 main quadrants that we have for the economy. So here's the graph for these 4 quadrants of economic conditions. From quadrant number 1 moving clockwise to now quadrant number 4, there are terms that we call during depth conditions, which are for quadrant number 1, stagflation. There's rising inflation and falling growth. And we have inflationary boom, where there's rising inflation and rising growth. We have disinflationary boom, where we have falling inflation and rising growth. And finally, quadrant number 4 is deflationary bust, where we have falling of both inflation and growth. So for property, aka real estate, they generally perform better during the quadrants where there's rising growth, perform badly during falling growth, which explains why during recession time or trough, property won't perform well, but they perform exceptionally well during the recovery and also the boom of the market, whereby you have everyone goes crazy about property once the market settles down and you have steady and consistent growth for the economy. So with this, we can know that during these 2 quadrants or 2 economic conditions, property tends to grow and increase in value. During recession or when there's falling growth, property tends to underperform and sometimes generally drop in price, although not at a huge amount unless there's a catastrophic disaster happening around. If not, it is just a normal cycle or normal phase during the big long debt cycle. So in other words, it means it is always the best time to purchase properties during the 2 conditions in which they are underperforming, which are the falling growth quadrants. Either you have stagflation or you have deflationary bust. So again, refer to this video on what is the best time to buy property up there. So here's the summary. Timing is among the major factors for us to have the best gain in our investment. So to know the property market cycle well and have at least the concept of it will make us making better decisions as compared to people that didn't acknowledge about this property market cycle, as we know when approximately is the best time to purchase property and when is the worst time to purchase it. Number 2 is that if you want to purchase aggressively or increasing your portfolio in real estate or property, save a lot of money or cash during booms and buy those properties during the recession and trough. Number 3 is that instead of trying to time the market in which there's no one that can time it well, we need to know how to deal with those conditions when those conditions or situations turns out to be real, so that we know how to deal with it well once it happens and we can get a gain in the long run. So thanks for watching, and if you want to learn more about property,
just hit the like, share, subscribe button, turn on notifications, and I'll see you in my next video.